Kia ora, I'm Miriam Makamo. It's caused heartache and joy, it's reduced grown men to tears, it's summoned a whole town to clamour in its presence, and finally, it's brought relief. That little brown diary from the Second World War, it's been sitting in Ron and Shirley Miller's cupboard in Taranaki for decades. Who could have predicted the impact it would make? When the Millers found out its Italian owner was still alive, he's 96, they were determined to return it to him in person. But they never imagined the reception they and the diary were to get. Here's Janet McIntyre.
La Dolce Vita, the sweet life. Deep in the heart of Italy. And here comes Taranaki cowcocky Ron Miller.
This is a big step for us, yeah.
After 45 years of milking cows, barely stepping out of gumboots, let alone stepping out of New Zealand.
This is our first big OE, yeah.
He's come all this way on a mission.
You're not a man of many words, I gather, but
No.
You're going to be making a few today.
Well, yeah, I'm going to have to make a few today, but never been a public speaker or anything like that, so it's going to be quite hard.
All of a sudden, in Bagnacavallo, a town of 16,000, Ron Miller is gracing the papers, courting flashbulbs, posing with the mayor. All because he's come to return a little diary that's been in Ron's family's hands for decades.
Did you expect all of this?
No, we didn't expect that at all. We just expected to just come over here, hand the diary over and say goodbye, we'll see you.
This journey to Italy has been in the making, really, for 70 years, dating back to a terrible time in history, the beginning of the end of the Second World War. Ron Miller's father, Corporal Joseph Miller, serving in North Africa, picked up a diary, dropped somewhere in the desert, and took it home with him, always hoping but never believing it might one day be returned to its actual owner.
Back in Taranaki, after Joseph died, the diary sat in a box, in a cupboard, out of sight, rarely talked about.
I sort of knew it was around, but I never really had much to do with it until just before Mum died.
The contents of the pages were a mystery to Ron's mother, even the owner's name unclear. But the diary's future was never in doubt.
She just said to me that Dad always reckoned that he'd love to have given it back to the family one day, you know.
But finding that family wouldn't be easy. The only clue, a note from his mother. This diary was found from Italian plane, shot down in desert.
I assumed he was a pilot, he was dead.
Ron, his wife Shirley, and their son David did their best. They gave it to the Italian embassy in Wellington.
Well, they didn't find anything.
A few years ago, it went around the world with Shirley's well-meaning girlfriend.
I don't even think she had the chance to take it out of a suitcase, so it came back again.
In May, the Millers gave it to Edith Daughtery,
Buonasera.
an English language teacher in New Plymouth, who identified the owner's name.
His name on the diary is Tony Albert or Tony Alberto.
Then, after weeks of research throughout all of Italy, she tracked down a young man with the same surname and could it be possible?
He said, "It's my granddad." And then I said, "Really?" Then he said, "It's my granddad and he's still alive." Really? I can't believe this. He's still alive. So I just was jumping up and down on the telephone. I was really excited. And I think he was excited as well.
She was just so ecstatic, and so were we. We didn't sleep all night.
To find him out that he was still alive was the biggest shock that we could have got, you know.
For the Millers, there was only one thing to do, get the diary back to its owner, now 96, and to personally hand it over.
I think it'd be quite good to meet the man, you know, because the father's not here to do it, so we will do it.
They organised care for their stock and planned their very first big overseas trip.
Do you like Italian food?
Well, they eat a lot of spaghetti, don't they?
We've sort of been meat and veggie people, and yeah, even pizzas. We've never been into pizzas much.
But quietly, with each passing day, Ron was fearing the worst.
Terrible. I haven't seen him so stressed. He really has. Yeah, yeah. He's just worried that the old fella might die. That's been the main thing, hasn't it?
Mm.
What's he like when he's stressed?
He sits there and stares into space.
Oh, come on.
You did. Yeah, he doesn't say much, and yeah, no, it has affected us.
But as I was to discover in sunny Bagnacavallo, near Bologna in northern Italy, the once young soldier who almost died serving his country at war is still a sprightly trooper.
Signor Alberto. Buongiorno. Sono Janet, televisione Nuova Zelanda.
Sognandovi sei sempre stati nella mia mente.
Thinking during the day and dreaming at night, so at last you are here.
Sempre.
Always, always.
Always.
Coming up, the power of the pages lost for decades.
Well, it is the very first time. He has got tears in his eyes.
No one of us believed was true.
No! No!
The connection between enemies who became friends. On one side of the world, 96-year-old Alberto Toni, a retired farmer, still feeds his extended family from the land.
You wake up 6 in the morning, always very busy.
Working another piece of earth, 19,000 kilometres away, Ron Miller runs, as he puts it, just a few head of cattle for the love of it.
I usually talk to the animals, not the people.
Total strangers 2 months ago, they never knew they were connected by a diary, owned, written in and lost by one, kept safe by the other.
Thousands upon thousands of Italian prisoners who'd lost the will to fight.
In 1941, as exhausted, depleted Italian troops in North Africa faced certain surrender to the Allies, the young Corporal Alberto Toni, a gunner stationed in Libya, put pen to the pages of the only diary he ever kept. He wanted never to forget the horror of a war that would kill 450,000 of his compatriots.
14th of April 1941. I was shooting all the time and bombs kept on falling. 5th of December. Very cold. These days we are so hungry we almost can't handle it. 13th of December. It's raining grenades from all directions. A grenade hits me, but I'm buried under rock and I get up, unhurt. A real miracle to be safe. Tornerò. I will return.
Nelle nostre linee, fino all'accerchiamento.
On our front line, we could go 2 or 3 days without food and water. One day I spotted a big rat. I skinned it, I cooked it, and I ate it. We were so thirsty, I even tried to drink the only few drops of urine I could make, but I couldn't, because it was so bitter.
You had to cook and eat a rat? What was that like?
Il topo lo arrostì.
I roasted it. Because we were so hungry, we would have eaten anything. It tasted good, very good.
He thinks it was in Alexandria, Egypt, after he was captured by the Allies, taken a prisoner of war, that he lost his diary.
Eravamo quasi 1000.
We were almost 1,000 in one compound, and it was a disaster. I think I lost it there. We were searched every day, so I'm not sure. A British soldier seeing that little book must have felt that it was something interesting and kept it for himself.
Alberto assumed that diary, that precious record of a year on the front line in northern Libya, was lost forever.
Well, it is the very first time. He has got tears in his eyes. Well, isn't that incredible?
You say he's talking about the war and about that diary?
All the day, but at least once a week or once a month.
For how many years?
For all the years that I know of him, really.
son-in-law Giovanni Emiliani helped write Alberto's memoir of the war years.
C'era la linea che sono stato io.
He remembers everything. It's incredible, unbelievable.
It's complete, but for the missing diary.
It's really a piece of art written down, yeah. Because he had only this, let's say, wire to connect a really bad situation of the war with his life that he left at home. And it was the only friend.
It would have been lost forever if not for the actions of an enemy soldier, New Zealand Corporal Joseph Miller, also serving in the desert.
New Zealanders are running these trains, and New Zealanders are making the tracks they run along.
Corporal Miller of the 10th Railway Construction Company must have spotted the diary, probably thrown away in the sand somewhere in the desert, picked it up and brought it home, hoping that it could be returned to the family of what he thought was a dead pilot. Alberto Toni, of course, was not a pilot, certainly not dead. He and his diary were to endure for decades.
How did you react when you found out that your diary was in the hands of a family in New Zealand all these years?
Non lo so descrivere. Ero in casa.
I can't describe it. I can't. I was preparing lunch. It was about midday, and my grandson rushed in with a piece of paper in his hands, and he was shouting, "Grandad, Grandad, your diary has been found in New Zealand." And I was speechless. After 70 years, I didn't know what to say.
One late summer evening, Alberto's friends and family gather to celebrate. It's taken 7 decades, a great deal of detective work, grief and air miles.
Alberto.
Good evening.
Ron, yeah, nice to meet you.
And finally, the little diary is going home.
È stato lui che ha fatto tutto questo.
And my first thought is for your father, who was the first, and is my deepest thanks go to him, to his memory.
Il merito è stato tutto suo.
He was the one who looked after and took care of my...
Thank you very, very much.
Well, after 70 years, I've got something here for you.
E c'è qualcosa per lei?
Oh, no. No. No.
It's not just about a diary. It's not just this single act of kindness. New Zealanders once before came halfway round the world to liberate towns and lives in this part of Italy, and it's never been forgotten.
We are grateful because they freed us from the German invasion. Most of them gave their young lives for our freedom, and they were not obliged to do that because in New Zealand there wasn't a war, and they came here far away from their hometowns just to fight for our liberation. We can't forget that, and we will not forget that.
And indeed, they have not forgotten. On a 40-degree day, hundreds packed the Bagnacavallo Town Hall for a civic reception. A story which began at a time of war with the loss of a diary, Mayor Russo tells the audience, ends today in peace.
Alberto.
To me, it was a job to get it back, but now it's back, they're happy, I'm happy, yeah. The job is done.
Tornado, I will return Alberto wrote in his diary over 70 years ago. A young soldier fighting in Africa, determined to survive. I will return. The spirit of the little diary and its owner lives on.
I wish you a happy, long life. Okay.
Okay. Oh, that was so lovely. Alberto's secrets for his long life, remember he's 96, hard work, natural food, a little bit of wine, and keeping his mind active. And yes, apparently he is still talking about the diary, more so I dare say, now that he has it in hand.